Hello guys and welcome to this evening's video. This is the first on-season outlook and discussion, and the reason this is the start of the on-season outlook and discussion is because they started the Tuesday, the tropical weather outlooks. So that warrants the off-season to go off out the window, and now it's on-season. This is going to be a pretty lengthy video today because we got a lot to go over. We're going to be going over the Atlantic stuff. We're going to look at the C-Nino 3.4 region, which we're already on there. We'll take a look at sea surface temperatures and the sea surface temperature changes in the last 7 days and the mean. Not only that, but we're going to have an update on a rapidly intensifying Tauktae. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So here we are on the Nino 3.4 index, and as you can see, February was pretty cool, and it even got down to negative 0.8 at one point, and then after that, it just skyrocketed, pretty much upwards, and it's been through peaks and valleys ever since. And then it went up a big mountain, and then we kind of plateaued, and now we're going down, and it looks like it's going back up again. The latest value here is negative 0.085, but there are some suggestions that this may go back down towards La Nina during the late season. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. Okay, here's the sea surface temperatures. And as you can see, it's just this one part in the northern Gulf of Mexico that just can't warm up quickly. It's the shelf waters pretty much. And let's see here. There are some 26s here. They're pretty evident here. Most of the Gulf of Mexico here is at 26s and 27s, and even a little bit of 28s sprinkled in here. The Gulf Stream here is plenty warm enough for tropical cyclone activity, and it's piping hot down here near the Keys and parts of the Bahamas. Here in the Caribbean, we've got some 28s, 27s, 28s, and 29s popping up, and even some 30s here. So it's getting pretty warm here in the Caribbean, but this seems to be kind of below normal than what we're used to this time of year. Here in the MDR region, this area seems to be steady here around the 10 degrees north line. This is definitely an Atlantic El Nino, so that's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I think once the WAM kicks up, these temperatures are going to start to rebound a little bit to tropical threshold, if you may. All right, let's take a look at the CDAS SST anomaly 7-day change, and as you can see, it's just a mixed bag. It's a whole mixed bag here. And as you can see in the 7 days, the Atlantic is starting to cool down pretty nicely here. This is kind of shocking to me a little bit that the Atlantic is cooling down this much in the 7-day change. We do got some warmth here in the subtropics though, but everywhere else you see either neutral or cool conditions going forward. So I do expect this to change as we go out through time, but as of right now, it looks like the 7-day change is going towards a cooler trend. Here in the Pacific, we can see some neutral and blue colors here. This is indicative of some neutral and cool neutral, or not cool neutral, but cooler than normal sea surface temperatures in the last 7 days. So here in the Nino area, we could see some neutrals and above average sea surface temperatures. I do not expect this to continue though, because as I said, there are some models suggesting that we could go to a La Nina again on the late season. All right, so here is the sea surface temperature mean, global mean, and this is the telling part here. You can take a look at this big, huge warm streak going from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to the subtropics of the Atlantic. This is highly above average here for what really is supposed to be for this time of year. So this is gonna probably trigger some subtropical development at some point in time when we get to that point. Now, here in the MDR region, we can see that it's cooler than normal, and all the way through the Caribbean here. So, uh, the Caribbean, I don't know if it's going to recover that much, but the MDR should recover in at the near the end of May, going into June, July, and then it might be above average during the peak of the hurricane season. Over here in the Pacific, we can see tons of blues. So this is a pretty cold Pacific here. But what really matters is this area right in here in the Nino 3.4 region, and we got some blues, but it's mostly neutral. So that's why La Nina died the other day, and now we're in cool neutral conditions as of right now. Okay, let's move forward here, and we're going to be talking about Tauktae. And last time I talked to you, it was a 75 mile per hour system. Well, maximum sustained winds are still 65 knots, which is 65 knots mile per hour. I'm used to doing everything in miles per hour. This is a Category 1 cyclone right now. Just look at what the presentation is like here. This could be even above a category. No, I wouldn't say above a Category 1, but it definitely looks like it's stronger than a 65 knot storm. So this is in preparations to do some rapid intensification, and this is already bad news for the western coast of India here, as they've just been battered with rain and wind and storm surge. I've seen some videos on Twitter with a storm surge too. So this is not a good situation, and this is going to have to end up to go somewhere. Like I said, I don't fearmonger here. I call it how I see it, and this system has nowhere else to go but north. And what's north? India and Pakistan. So this is just bad news bears all across the table. Speaking of bad news bears, here's a look at the long floater radar here, and as you can see, this is wrapping around pretty nicely here. We got the shrimp-like look, which is indicative of a strengthening system here. And you can see these outer bands working their way into western India. And this is moving slowly. I think this is moving slowly right now. It doesn't really say there. But it looks like on radar that this is moving slowly. So we're going to get prolific rainfall and wind event here in this western coast of India here. So please just be mindful of the things that are going on around you and prepare as best as you can for any flooding events or storm surge events that may happen with this system going forward. All right, so here is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center here, and I don't think this is updated. Let me get another one up here and see if it is updated. I don't think it has. No, this is not updated. So we're still at 105 knots, which is like 120 miles per hour. My peak is around 135, 140 miles per hour, but we'll see if the Joint Typhoon Warning Center increases this as we go out through time. As you can see, tonight at 18Z is 65 knots, 6Z is 80 knots. Tomorrow at 18Z, it's 95 knots. On the 17th at 6Z, 105 knots, and then it starts to weaken at 18Z on the 17th at 100 knots, and then inland on 18Z on the 18th at 60 knots. So this is going to be a very bad situation for a lot of people. So I just want people to remember to listen to your local management for any life-saving, details that you may want to know and need to know. Just listen to them, please. All right, so we're going to take a look at the GEFS track minimal MSLP, and this is from 12Z. Once again, I'm gonna check again and see if that has updated. I'm probably gonna GEFS. I think it did. Yeah, it did. There we go. GEFS. This is updated. So now we're clean. We're fresh and good to go. So right now, this is like I said. I've always brought this up. What you see with this black line, this is the average of everything that you see here. Um, so what it does is that it takes all these tracks and put it into one average. So right down the middle is what the average is for this. As you can see, the starting point is 979 millibars, and it deepens to a maximum of 969 millibars. And it seems in 48 hours, this is probably going to make landfall according to the GEFS. So that's 2 days over piping hot water to really intensify nicely with what it has here. All right, so here's a GEPS. These are obviously weaker than the the GEFS. Excuse me. The starting point is 991, so we already know this is wrong, like way wrong. And it has a pressure. The minimal pressure is down to like 984, and it's lower too. This has landfall in 3 hours. So, not 3 hours. Excuse me, guys. I'm in 3 days from now. Um, so yeah, I don't know why this GEPS is not really on the ball this well with this one right now. All right, let's take a look. Actually, we don't need that. Let's exit out. We're gonna look at the CDAS temperatures here, and they're pretty much the same as they were earlier today, piping hot and ready to go. There's nothing really stopping this system from really exploding in intensification. So, even wind shear is not even going to be a factor. The only thing that may hinder this is an eye wall replacement cycle. That's the only thing really, and there may be some rapid intensification, but the ocean heat content further up north is not all that high. So maybe it's a big maybe. Maybe it'll be slower intensification the more north that it goes. But we're gonna have to see. I will keep up on that situation as we go out the time. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the GFS here, and as you guys know, these are the two models that I look at the most when it comes to the tropics: so the GFS and the ECMWF, or the European. So what the GFS says here is that we're at 971 millibars. So this is a pretty decent Category 2 hurricane, or not a hurricane, but a cyclone. Um, the wind shear is pretty high though at this point. It's at 21 knots. So we're gonna have to get this lowered, which I do assume is gonna happen. So we're gonna be seeing semi-slow intensification for a small bit, but then I think overnight tonight, uh, Eastern Daylight Time, obviously, we're gonna see this thing explode, and it's gonna be bad. Bad, like I said, bad news bears. So let's go out to 24 hours, and this is 960. This is a Category 3 cyclone, and the wind, like I said, it was going to go down. So wind shear now is at 11 knots. So not much to slow it down. The waters are piping hot. The wind shear is low, so it has pretty much all the ingredients for intensification. And once we get here to 48 hours, we're at imminent landfall, and it's at 953 millibars. And we only have 5 knots a shear, so this is probably going to strengthen all the way up to landfall, unfortunately. So this is 48 hours out, and it looks like it's about to make landfall. 72 hours out, we're not going to look at wind shear. It's 976 millibars, so it's still a Category 2 inside of India here. 96, and it starts to die out at 96 pretty much, and that's pretty much all she wrote for that. So what we hope for is that these next 2.5, 3 days go by as quick as possible, because it's going to be a bad situation in India and Pakistan. I have a suspicion, gut feeling that this is going to be one of the worst natural disasters to ever hit Pakistan and India in the modern time. Again, I'm not fear mongering. I'm telling you how it is. Um, I want everybody to be safe from this. So that's why I'm being serious with you this way. You know, because any cyclone, typhoon, hurricane, whatever you want to call them, any one of these that makes landfall anywhere is going to be bad news. I don't care how you spin it, whether it's a tropical storm, even a tropical depression can be devastating because of the deadly rainfall that it brings. Tropical storm, same thing, deadly rainfall. We can look at Amilda of 2019 and just look how slow that moved. It dumped nearly 35 inches on Houston. So we know tropical depressions and tropical storms can be pretty deadly. But now we're getting up to category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, and category 5. I mean, once you get to a cyclone, typhoon, and hurricane, that's a whole different ballgame. And trust me, I know from experience what this is like. And please, everybody in India and Pakistan, please be safe. And like I said, listen to your local management for any details, life saving details. Anyways, moving on. Here we are at the ECMWF, and we're looking at the European here. And what this has is a 983 millibar system. So this is pretty. I mean, probably at 12Z, this is probably what it was, but it's definitely not now. So we're going to look at 24 hours out, and it's deepening. We're at 974, which is a deep category 2, maybe border going on category 3. 48 hours, we're at 950. 968 is still a cyclone inside India, and still kind of a category 1 this far into India. In 120 hours, it is done. All right, that is all from me today. I will be back again with 2 more videos tomorrow with Tauktae and anything else that might be interesting that's going on in the world of the tropics. All right, thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.